I think that they're too similar to the Andorians in just being kind of dicks all the time. And
yes, yeah.
I would have set them up differently because I think that there's room to have a species that is not actively hostile or suspicious or paranoid, but they do like to just kind of argue all the time, so it's difficult to get stuff done with them.
Yeah.
My problem is that they're too, because they rely on them being insult comics and like everything they do is a roast of somebody, they come across as similarly too hostile as the Andorians, and I don't think that there's a great dramatic rub between all of the races when they do that. There's only 4. You have to get the humans, Vulcans, Andorians, and Tellarites all to occupy a very specific space that they can interact with each other, and I don't think they do that effectively here, between those two anyway.
Yeah, I also was a little bit... The insulting thing or the argumentative thing seemed like just a bit of a... some fun stuff.
Pointless flavor.
Yeah, pointless flavor, because like after those first 2 scenes, it's not like the Darmok guys. It's like they don't apparently just talk that way all the time.
No, they don't insult each other in their own little group. When they're talking to each other, they don't insult each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like once they get into, what was funny is when they started arguing with Shran and the Andorians, it was so different than what they had set up as the quote-unquote way they communicate, which is just insulting everybody, that it stood out to me, whereas it shouldn't have, because they were just arguing with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it's too bad that they didn't play it more as argumentative instead of just being, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog ×4.
Yeah.
Because that's almost more. I mean, I guess it is fun, where it's like, oh, you say hello by saying, "Wow, you look like a piece of shit today."
Yeah.
But like, I think there's more fun built into that concept if it's just that they argue with you all the time, and it's just because that's exhausting. Like that.
Yeah.
Just the concept of that is exhausting.
Just that they're even small things, it's like just they're. Because I think there's a way to somewhat play them as an emotional Vulcan analog, right? Where the Vulcans disagree with the humans all the time because they have this sort of logical approach to things, and the humans' emotional response and the humans' emotional inferences into things lead to a little bit of friction. I could see the other side of that coin is the Tellarites, who are like humans, except they don't have this rationality drive, but instead they just have this obsessive desire to almost like one-up you all the time. It's like, we should go warp 4.7, I think, Captain. Actually, it's like, God damn it, will this guy shut up at any point? I think that would be more interesting, and I think that's actually harder for Archer and the humans to get through than it is just to remember to call this guy a piece of shit every time you see him.
Right.
It's
a lot
if
harder
you're
to
actually
write,
trying to get
too.
something, it's a lot harder to write. Yeah, that's the trade-off.
Yeah, no, but I agree. I think it is more interesting, especially when you are dealing with an argumentative race who you actually legitimately do have to deal with and argue with, and it's not just how they say hello. That does put some wrinkles into the proceedings that I think are could be pretty interesting.